Hi everyone, welcome back to GMBookshop, where we read and review literature that speaks to the heart of the African experience. Today's book is short, but powerful. Just 28 pages long, yet it packs in more meaning than many books 3 times its length. We're talking about Accra, More Poems About Modern Afrikans by Papa Kobina Ulzen, a Ghanaian-born writer who now lives in Toronto. If you've ever wondered how poetry can be simple, accessible, yet deeply reflective of our realities as modern Africans, this book is for you. Let's dive in.
Cannonball!
At first glance, 28 pages might seem too short to make an impact. But that's the beauty of this chapbook. Every page speaks volumes. The language is straightforward. There are no flowery phrases or overly complex metaphors. Papa Kobina is not trying to impress. He's trying to connect, and he succeeds.
It also feels good to be needed.
From the very first poem titled Kyekyewere, we're taken to a small village about 70 kilometers outside Accra. The poem is a recollection of a time the author did voluntary work, helping build a classroom block. There's a quiet humility in this opening. It's not about grand achievements, but about participating in something communal. Something developmental, something so basic yet so essential. And just like that, Ulzen sets the tone. This isn't a collection about abstractions. It's grounded, real, lived. The next poem and the title of the collection is Accra. This one struck me hard. If you've ever taken public transport in Accra, you know the drill. The loud calls of the mate, the driver's assistant, ringing Accra. The chorus of replies from passengers, the frustration when the bus is full or not going your way. Ulzen captures it with precision. The poem opens with lines many of us know by heart.
Accra, sorry, full up, Accra, the circle only, sir.
How many of us haven't had these conversations? And even more interesting, he talks about how these words evolve into gestures. A glance, a finger pointed toward the sky, a subtle nod or shake of the head. It's everyday telepathy, street survival, communal navigation. And the deeper point, this is not just about buses. It's about the rhythm of African urban life, the hustle, the language, the struggle for movement. And Ulzen lived it. Then there's the poem What Was, What Is. This piece floored me. Here, Ulzen draws comparisons between apartheid South Africa and post-independence Kenya. He describes Black South Africans being herded into mines,
like a herd of cattle.
And he draws a parallel with Kenyan laborers from Kyekyewere township streaming into Nairobi's industrial area, just hoping, to be chosen for a day's low-paying job.
You did what you had to do.
Reading that, I couldn't help but think of Peter Abraham's Mine Boy. And Ulzen seems to be asking, has anything really changed? The flags have changed, the songs have changed, but
though the song has changed, the puppet remains the same.
The puppet remains the same. That line hits deep. And it reminds me of the questions posed by writers like Kyekyewere in The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, or Ngugi wa Thiong'o in Madigari. What good is independence if our suffering remains unchanged? It is in this vein that he writes Any Better. This piece begins with a blunt and rhetorical question.
Are we any better than them, those who came and enslaved those who came and colonized so many years? No, they've been gone, yet our crimes are like theirs.
And why are our crimes like them when we claim to be independent, and when our independence is supposed to fetch us freedom and our freedom development? He answers it himself.
For still we enslave one another, not in the name of nation, religion, and race, but in the name of tribe. Still we colonize one another, not from country to country, but the urban colonize the rural.
And how many times have we seen the disparity between the rural folks, whose sweat capital feed us, and the urban rich, whose mouths are widely open to swallow this sweat, as colonization? All over the place, people are much more concerned on being this or that. And in so doing, instead of identifying this as our weakness, we try to impose ourselves, creating some sort of superiority akin to the colonialists. There are 2 strong currents that run through this collection, reminiscence and hope. Whether Ulzen is reflecting on his childhood, his parents, or the state of Africa, there's a longing in his words, a kind of looking back to move forward. Take the poem Conversations We Never Had, a deeply personal piece addressed to his father. He questions decisions, wonders, seeks understanding. It's tender, vulnerable. Then there's Prayer for the Black Child, where he reflects on racism and the hope that one day will create
a better place, a safer place for the black child.
It's part prayer, part challenge, it's a vision, and in Reclamation he shifts the focus. No longer blaming the colonialists, he calls on us to take charge of our future, to build, to reclaim our own destiny. That blend of remembering and hoping is what ties the book together. Whether he's talking about Accra's street corners or Kenya's laborers, slave dungeons or missed conversations, the common thread is the belief that we can do better, if only we choose to. So who is Papa Kobina Ulzen? He's a Ghanaian-born writer who's lived in Ghana, Kenya, Zambia, and traveled to at least 7 other African countries before moving to Canada more than 2 decades ago. He's based in Toronto now, and his poetry has also appeared in Akwantu, Thoughts of a New Canadian. Ulzen isn't just a poet. He's also written and produced short plays like Karibuni Canada, Malaika, Bus Stop, and Lunchtime Again. And last I checked, he was working on a feature-length African-themed play titled Ekwa na Kamau, a love story set in Accra. You can tell from his work that he's lived a rich, border-crossing life, and that depth shows in this collection. He writes not just as a Ghanaian, but as an African who has seen the continent from multiple angles. Accra is more than a poetry chapbook. It's a reflection, a mirror, a call to conscience. It reminds us of where we've been and where we could go. I love how Ulzen makes poetry accessible. He shows us that poems don't need to be layered with obscure references to be powerful. Sometimes all you need is truth, memory, and the courage to name what others overlook. Unfortunately, this collection is not widely available. It was given out at a monthly Ghana Voices series book reading event, but if you ever come across it, don't hesitate. Read it, share it, reflect on it. Because poetry like this, it doesn't age, it only deepens. Thanks for watching. If you've read this collection or anything by Papa Kobina Ulzen, drop your thoughts in the comments. What stood out to you? What poems moved you most? I'll be back next week with another piece of African literature that deserves your attention. Until then, keep reading, keep reflecting, and as always, stay grounded. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.